my postpartum journey with my second was wildly different than my first. My first one, I feel like I went to sleep and I woke up and my body was back. I didn't have to do anything.
That's amazing.
It was crazy. My second one, it just wasn't going anywhere. And I kept telling my doctors, like, I feel terrible. I am exhausted no matter how much sleep I get. The weight is not coming off. And they look at that like a vanity thing. They're like, oh, we'll just wait. I'm like, no, like that is a sign of something. Like it's
thyroid. Yeah.
Right. And that's what I kept saying. Well, your thyroid's supposed to be out of whack because you just had a baby. And I'm like, well, this didn't happen the first time. And they're like, well, every pregnancy is different. I'm like, I'm telling you, there's something wrong. So I had Graves' disease, I guess it's maybe a forever thing. But I'm like, I'm just going to go off my medicine.
Right.
And they told me not to. They're like, your levels are fine. I'm like, they're not fine. Look at me. Like I'm giving you all of the signs of like low thyroid. And they just wouldn't. So I went off my medicine against their advice. I hired a private practice doctor. I started working with Merrick Health. And so they were monitoring everything. Everything started to level out. I stopped taking my traditional postpartum like prenatal
supplement.
And then I took something, I think it's Thorn, and they have like
Thorn
the real
great.
version, and my brain fog lifted, the weight started coming off.
Insane.
I felt like I was like taken out of this cloud. I wouldn't say it was postpartum depression because it wasn't that bad, but it definitely wasn't my normal baseline.
You can tell. Like a woman's intuition, whether it's for her babies or it's for herself, she knows what she's talking about. And I hate the gaslighting that these doctors do. But then I always have to remind myself, and like the people that I'm here and friends with, their parents are doctors, and I love how even keeled they are because they're in research. And one of them actually halts drugs like from getting onto the marketplace. But what like is so interesting is like that said is like doctors are taught to practice medicine. Literally, the word medicine. They're taught to practice medicine. They're not taught to look for root cause. And even if they know that like majority of women who are coming into the postpartum era after having a baby are like hypothyroid, they just deem that as part of the process and are in like, it feels like so many of them are just incapable of seeing like, okay, well, what's the root cause? And like, is there a way to solve this, or is it going to solve it on its own? Or, oh, are we just going to push them onto Synthroid or another thyroid medicine down the road? It's so crazy that this is the reality of our profit medical model. Like, it's all for profit. And
and they say you're supposed to feel that way. You're supposed to feel like,
no,
Jack.
you're not.
No, you're not.
No, you're not. In traditional Chinese medicine, there's the 40 days that's practiced. And the 40 days is a place where the mama does not go really out of the house. She wears warm wool socks. She's taken cared for by usually 1 to 2 extra people in the house, whether it's a grandma, a mom, whatever, the husband as well. She's got probably meals prepared for her. She's eating a lot of like red medjool dates. She's lots of broths, things that are warming to the womb. And they say in traditional Chinese medicine that the mother who practices the 40 days after, she should come out feeling better than she did before she got pregnant.
Whoa.
So that is the opposite in philosophy, that you have like, she should come out nourished and glowing after the 40 days of postpartum versus, oh, you're working 9 to 5, you have 10 weeks of maternity leave, figure out how to manage your baby and manage everything else while having little to no help, and a husband that's also working nonstop. Yeah, you're just gonna have to figure it out. We'll prescribe you something. How's your anxiety? Oh, you should probably get that like checked.
Let's just throw you on Lexapro. You'll be fine.
I can't believe like you hear these stories and you like want to laugh because you're like, this is so absurd. It's insane. And it's normal here. And it's the opposite in other places in the world. I mean, look at how many other countries have 6+ months, 8 months of maternity leave. Like here, you are lucky. Like most women are lucky if they get 10 weeks.
And then they don't even take it if they have it.
Yeah.
Because they feel
they're
guilty.
scared that they're going to lose their job. It's insane. I will fight to the death on like this topic because it boils my blood, because then you get because hypothyroidism is the inability of, it's like, it stems from like in trauma, it's like not being enough. Like if you look at like the TCM version, I think German New Medicine there may be crossovers in this, and I don't know exactly, and I don't want to butcher it, but it's the ability to not be like, feel like you're speaking your truth and not feel like enough, and that you're kind of chasing the rat race as a mother and or just as a woman. And so the thyroid is in the throat. The throat chakra is associated with it, and it's got this connection of the inability to basically be saying, thinking, doing what you feel like you need to do and that you can't keep up or you can't catch up. And it's very like there's a very strong like energetic sense to the condition. So I've had some hypothyroid activity postpartum a little bit myself.
Really?
I've been trying to have.
From the outside in, I was like seeing all the stuff you were eating, and I'm like, oh, that's amazing.
Right.
And then I see you in a bikini in Spain, and I'm like, good God, she's not human.
No. but you know what's interesting too is the hypothyroidism shows through more than just the weight. Hypothyroidism is a very stealthy condition because it starts out with like cold hands and cold feet. Some women, it will show through as losing a lot of hair, but maybe their weight goes back to normal. Some women, it's the weight in certain regions just doesn't fall off. Some women, it's this chronic lethargy, but then like maybe they're also skinny. So it's like this mirage. It's like this very like stealthy thing because all these women experience it super differently. And you'll just like feel in your body, like you'll feel it in your gut, you'll feel it, and you'll just be like, things are slow. Like things aren't moving the way that they normally do, or I'm losing like a little bit of hair right now. Like that's one of the things that I've like noticed about myself is like, oh, I'm losing a little bit of hair and I'm kind of feeling cold hands, cold feet a good amount. And that was how it started to kind of like show forth for me, where I wasn't really wanting to work out. I was kind of just like slow, like, oh, okay, this is the first signs of thyroid. I need to do selenium. I need to like try to eat like a lot of selenium and a good amount of iodine. Well, personally for me, like that's like I crave seaweed and like salty things, and then like and I'm starting to kind of feel a little bit better, but definitely noticed it. And stress, of course, exacerbates it like a lot. And
then how do you do that when you're not sleeping, right?
Right.
Yeah.
How do you get over that when you're not sleeping? That's a great question.
Yeah.
You honestly, co-sleeping has been my answer.
I committed to that with my first one. I was so convinced I was going to kill him, and this is all because everyone tells you to do it. Like, so he did it.
For everybody was telling me that too. They're like, you're gonna like regret this, like. And then I was like, I had the maternal instincts that
You
kick
don't
in overnight.
At night, with my second,
I'm literally like nipple.
Yep. And you just don't move. And he's exactly where he is when I went to bed. Obviously, like you make sure the blankets are where they need to be, all that good stuff. But with my second, we co-slept till he was 5 months. Yeah. And it was amazing.
And
I got
you
sleep.
Yeah. You literally sleep. Like people don't tell you. Like that is the hack. Like, okay, they're like, yeah, sleepless night. No, you co-sleep and you'll literally sleep. Or like just get the extension bassinet for the bed and it's perfectly safe. Like you get the extension bassinet and you actually sleep at night. And nobody tells you that.
Yep.
And again, I talk about other cultures.
It's normal.
It's so normally practiced in all the other cultures around the world. And then you come here and it's like, oh, well, fear of this, of that. And there are instances when you maybe shouldn't co-sleep if you're like a heavy sleeper, if you're a smoker, like those types of things, drinking. Like there are instances, but if you're a healthy mama who has like good instincts and the dad, like there's very specific ways to do it like very safely. And
see, I wouldn't trust my husband, and I think he would say he doesn't trust himself either. So he slept in the guest room, and then it was just me and the baby for a while.
I always did it on the opposite side of Rodrigo first. Now Luca is like big enough where Rodrigo like totally knows he's in bed too. Like Luca like sometimes will crawl on him at night, like in the middle of the night. We're like, Luca, go back to sleep. And so like we've gotten used to it, but at first it was the same way where it was like, husbands aren't as like aware, so either have him on the other side with the bassinet, and then like if he gets big enough and old enough, then you can kind of like, okay, now we're back all together.
Yeah, you're out of like the scary territory.
Oh my gosh, when they're so little, like
it's like a baby bird.
It is, and you're just like, oh yeah, but it's a labor of love, man. Between that and breastfeeding,
I'm still going. I'm trying to cut my 17-month-old. He will rip my shirt off in public if he has to. Like he is like, we're not stopping it. I'm like, well, when can we? Because
wondering if Luca is
I'm ready. I'm so ready.
It's like they're like child-led weaning. I'm like, well, some of these kids probably wouldn't wean until they're 4 years old.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna be my youngest. My oldest was done around 14 months. He just
was
didn't
like,
care.
yeah, I'm done.
Over it. And then this one
Little bit.
is like violent about it.
He'll
like pin me
child is an
down.
aggressive eater. I had to learn that. I was like, Luca got teeth at 3 months. He has 6 teeth by 7 months, and I was like dying because I'm like, he's aggressive and
Yeah.
like he's got chompers on him.
Yeah.
Like he will bite me. And then when I tell him no, he like laughs. He like,
Mine yells.
he
He'll yell
laughs.
at me.
I'm like, wait.
It's like, no, what do you mean no? Not happening.
so funny.
Those are mine.
Yeah,
So-
you're borrowing these.
Oh my
That's what my
gosh.
husband always tells him. He's like, you're borrowing these, little guy. Like, just remember.
He's like, that's what you think,
It's not
Papa.
forever.
That's what you think.